19th. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Any persons wishing to address the City Council on any item on today's agenda other than public hearings may do so at this time. And please, folks, could we line up, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, residents, council members, and mayor. Roy Fisher of the First District. You know, I had several concerns that I wanted to bring to you, but one of those concerns are these monies coming out of the general fund and going into legal services. You know, you keep continually amend these funding for all these legal fees. It just seems to me that we ought to have people on staff that could do much of this stuff without us expending so much of these monies. Some of the other comments I had to do with the public hearings that I wanted to comment on. However, finally, you guys hadn't been around to have meetings for a while, and it just seems to me that, again, with the salaries that you get, you know, you ought to be here to make those monies and to provide certain services for the residents of this community. So I will leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm Gil Matthew, District 4. Here again, I'd like to speak concerning finance and financial conditions of the city. We are approaching our new fiscal year in less than 5 weeks. And I've talked to the council about the financial condition of this city. And I've been getting some negative remarks from the council, which I object to. Specifically, I hope this council review their comments, because it's actually nonsense. I'm reading from documents supplied by Mr. Fields, and from the chairman of this committee, I'm getting pure nonsense. And from the other councilman, I'm getting, why does he figure he's authority? You know why? Because I'm reading documents that Mr. Field provides. I'm reading documents that the Department of Finance provides. I've offered you copies of the documents I'm reading from. You all refuse. So I don't know what else to say except we the people, the residents of Inglewood, this is the truth. Now, I'm hearing comments, we in a crisis, no, I'm not saying we're in a crisis at all. What I'm saying is speaking in terms of areas of concern. If you don't have a plan or a goal, then you're just dreaming. And this is why I'm crying out for new leadership. I'm crying out loud and clear, residents. New leadership is needed. This is prime time. This is not time for on-the-job training. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Now, according on the agenda items, there's no H1 on here unless I overlooked it, but yet to just have it listed, whatever H1 is supposed to be. Now, the other thing is concerned about the casino change. Well, that's a public hearing. I'll speak to that. But my point is, the forum in Madison Square Garden will be successful. the project at Hollywood Park will be successful. But council, stay out of it. It's a private business, okay? And the less government is involved with private business, the city will thrive. But stay out of it. Amen. See you later.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. I want to speak on payment of the bills. We need the leadership that we have here. I don't think we could have better leadership. Look at what's happening to this city. I see we have 4 people running for mayor. And this is going to cost the city something like $100,000. If any of the other people other than the sitting mayor wins this election, Alabama, here I come, right back where I started from. Mayor, council, staff, love you. Keep up the good work. Let the naysayers cry. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Ray Davis, 2nd District. I want to touch on a few of the items in today's council meeting. Number 16, actually number 17 and number 18, they all dovetail. I say that we have to definitely go through with all of these. Time is definitely nigh. They don't know when this drought's gonna break. I just spent, my homeowners association just spent a great deal of money upgrading and basically refurbishing our entire sprinkler system. We're not gonna waste a drop. We cannot water concrete anymore. So definitely. And though it's not on the agenda, Mayor, maybe you don't get it often, but you'll get it from me. When you raised it 53%, it hurt. But yeah, you were right. We had to do it. 22, million gallons up at UCLA, and they still haven't dried out? And
200 million gallons.
Pardon? 200 million. Oh, sorry. And so there you have it. And unfortunately, they kept putting Band-Aids on it. They kept hiding it. That's how, well, I don't want to waste everybody's time on that, but it's a case of, yeah, I told you so. And the last thing, number 19 is of interest to me, because you're going to be installing some upgraded equipment at Darby Park. You're going to replace 5 fans to solar power. I hope that that's a beginning. Let's do it to the whole city. Years ago, I mentioned putting wind generators on the roof of this building. They're actually rather attractive. They look like the human DNA helix. They don't spin like a propeller. They spin vertically. And you could line the roof with them and probably use all the electricity you needed to run this building. And with that, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Okay. Anybody else, please come forward. I'd appreciate it if we could get up and be ready to talk. Link?
I'm in the PHs, all of them, on your agenda.
The only thing is,
It's
Mr.
about-
Burke, we can't talk about the public hearings. I know you know this, until we call each hearing, right? We can't talk about the public hearings until we get to each hearing. And then you'll have a chance on each and every one.
I get the same amount of minutes?
You get more.
Who that said, You gotta be the mayor to tell me.
Okay, You'll get more,
Okay.
all right? Thank you. Close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1, and could we open the successor agency and the Housing Authority and the Finance Authority, Madam Clerk?
Sure, a quorum is present.
1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Council and agency members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Franklin. Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Item 2, CSA 2, H2 and F1.
Approval of the minutes held for the following council, successor agency, Housing Authority and Finance Authority for July 22nd, 29th, and August 5th.
While you were talking, you had a first and second from Morales, a second from Dodson.
Okay, thank you. Council and agency members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive public comment to consider amending certain standards and guidelines to the Hollywood Park Pacific Plan.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Manager, is there staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chris Jackson, Senior Planning Manager, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Butts and members of the City Council. As was previously mentioned, we have before us a case to consider amendment to the specific plan number 2014-01. I'll be doing an overview. As part of that overview, I will also address and tap upon the issue of the zoning code amendment. However, I do understand that that will be a separate public hearing, but it all is interrelated. The Hollywood Park specific plan, as you know, is located at the what would be the northeast corner of Prairie Avenue and Century Boulevard. It encompasses about 238 acres. Just by way of background, in June of 2009, City Council certified the final environmental impact report. In July of 2009, the City Council approved the Hollywood Park specific plan, the zone change, general plan amendment, the vesting tentative track map, the specific plan, and a development agreement. Also, the City Council established the Hollywood Park Community Facility District that would finance the acquisition or construction of the public infrastructure for the project. In October 2013, a technical revision was approved to modifying the Hollywood Park specific plan. In July of 2014, the Planning Commission approved and recommended approval of the specific plan amendment and zoning change to the Mayor and City Council with recommended amendments and additions that I'll address as we go through the presentation. July 22nd, 2014, this council set the public hearing, and then for August the 12th, of which there was not a quorum, so we are here going through this public hearing. Just a general description of the project: 238 acres, includes the demolition of the existing Hollywood Park racetrack and grandstand. Also, originally was the rehabilitation of the pavilion that housed the casino gaming facility of $120,000. Applicant is proposing now to construct a new facility and relocate the casino facility into that building. Also, construction of a new mixed-use development containing approximately 3,000 dwelling units, a little bit over 600,000 square feet of retail space, 75,000 square feet of office and commercial space. There's an optional 300-room hotel, 10,000 square feet of community services, a private swim club, and then over 25 acres of park systems with passive and active recreational opportunities. And also included in that was a 4-acre site that has been dedicated to the city and is under city ownership at this time. This is an illustrative of the original approval. Just want to get our bearings in terms of what the original layout was, particularly dominated by the park system, 25-plus acre park system. Want to identify the retail area that is principally going to remain in the same location: Lake Park, Champion Park, Arroyo Park, and then Bluff Park, which is at the eastern end of the project. And then again, identifying the park systems And then the land use patterns that's being, that was originally established. And we'll go through that in a little bit of detail as we move forward with the presentation. This is the revised illustrative, and I'm losing the power for the projector.
Couple weeks, that'll never happen again. Promise you.
I'll just. Well, I love those old acetates, and you just flip them on and kept a couple of bulbs with you, and you were good. But I did take the liberty of making copies as a backup. I'll go ahead and have city clerk. Yeah, they can share one of them, and I'll make one available. Hold on. Okay.
You want this?
It wasn't me. I didn't do anything.
We'll take a recess for the camera so that we save DVD time.
Okay, as I was previously stating, the proposed park locations for the revision or the amendment to the specific plan include the same parks as there were before. However, on Lake Park, there is an additional acreage that's going to add to the overall park acreage, which will bring it up over 26 acres. And then just want to give you a quick look of the layout, and we'll have a little further discussion as we move forward with this. The applicant, staff and the applicant met extensively over the last several months, identifying those areas that they had indicated that they wanted to make modifications to. And in that process, we worked closely with the applicant to refine the request and really identify those areas that were essential to this particular juncture. So in summarizing what the request was, it was to accommodate the revised hybrid retail center and make the appropriate changes to the street system to accommodate that, to address the changing housing market conditions that have occurred since this project was initially approved back in 2009. And prior to that, a lot of discussion about what was going to be developed on the site occurred in the early 2000s. And then also to construct a new building to house the casino, which we'll discuss shortly, and then details are actually attached to your staff report as attachments. Just in terms of the land use changes, the applicant is not requesting any modifications to any of the land use categories. They include open space, mixed use, residential, commercial, and recreation, as well as civic. However, there are some modifications due to the relocation of the street system, and I just want to point that the mixed use has been expanded from this would be the original approved. This is the revised or the amended, proposed amended layout, and the mixed use, which is the dark kind of red area, is actually bleeding up higher, which would be north, and then also filling in around the Lake Park area. The open space, as I previously mentioned, is going to be modified to allow for an additional area adjacent to the mixed use on the new revised street system. The CR zone, which is commercial recreational zone, will be reinstated and expanded at the southern portion of the site here versus the existing layout now, which is kind of this Z-shaped, if you will, appendage that includes the casino as it's currently situated. And as part of that, obviously, again, the applicant is proposing to construct a new structure that will house the relocated casino. Also, from a land use standpoint, there will be 4 new uses that are being added to the specific plan, and I'll go through them briefly. Community gardens, which is a new phenomenon that is occurring in residential areas where collectively the residents of the area are coming together to identify areas where they can have food items, plants, lettuce, tomatoes, et cetera, that are grown collectively and are able to be used collectively by the housing areas. As part of that, the Planning Commission wanted a more detailed definition, which is included in the attachments that you have, just to identify that it would be operated, how it would be operated, who would maintain it, and some of the details associated with that. Home finding center for the site, so that there will be one location that you could go to and be able to get all the important information on the housing types and availabilities of the housing types, similar to what we see in other cities that have master planned areas. And that's a by right land use. A new land use that's being introduced is the automobile retail storefront. And this is a kind of new phenomena. This is really like a Tesla phenomena. We see that over in Santa Monica, where they have what would be a typical retail layout with a car in it and a lot of information, and then the merchandising that goes along with the car. That would be require a special use permit approval through the Planning Commission. And then finally, a hotel and motel, 100 rooms, based upon the renovation to the form and some of the new exciting happenings in the area. The applicant has seen a opportunity to be able to create some small boutique hotels in and around, particularly Lake Park, that would provide for some of that leakage that occurs into the Los Angeles area. As well, the applicant is requesting some modifications to the density, and primarily what is being done is just relaxing what the range of the densities would be and modifying those densities for the various types of housing products. Obviously, at the time the specific plan was originally approved, there was specific types of housing that was being anticipated, and as we've gone through this economic downturn and then back up again, these other opportunities that presented themselves. So this would allow the applicant the ability to be able to provide for various housing types in the development. Then circulation, the applicant is requesting to modify the roadway network in and around, particularly the mixed use and the CR areas, to provide for that hybrid retail center. Some streets have been removed. Paseos have been added, and they are identified in the illustrative that I showed previously. And the paseo basically is a connection that allows connectivity through the site without necessarily vehicular. It would be bicycle, walking access. And then the elimination of many of the cul-de-sacs and hammerhead streets that were anticipated originally, just to provide for greater design flexibility as the project moves forward. Also, reduced parkways and elimination of some medians. The applicant has learned through some of the developments that they've undertaken and how it best these streetways are best serviced to create the right scale and to provide for the types of amenities that currently are being looked for. And so some of the streets are being reduced, some of the parkways are being reduced, just to create a more intimate and then be able to provide for some bicycling access and whatnot. Bulb outs have been introduced as traffic calming measures throughout the internal circulation system, again, to traffic calming mechanisms in the proposal. There are some residential location changes as well. The housing types, and I won't bore you with all of that good stuff, but it ranges from single-family residential all the way up to shopkeeper and live-work units. And some in the mixed use and shopkeeper areas. And they've expanded the overlay to completely go around the casino to provide for increased opportunity for shopkeeper and live work opportunity. And then also some of that shopkeeper and live work is expanded to the townhome and the wrap podium, which would be your higher density condominium type development north of Hardy Street. And then the overlay it uniquely applies across the land use categories. It is an overlay, so it's not an underlying zone. Residential lot sizes also is part of this. Some of the residential sites originally were anticipated at 3,500 being the minimum and 45 feet being the minimum width, based upon many of the new product types that are coming out that we're seeing across the landscape, California in particular. They're going down to from 3,500 down to 3,000. Staff was a little bit concerned about that, but after looking at many of the newer developments within the city, we noted that they were significant. Some of those lots were significantly smaller than even the 3,000 square feet, and significantly less depth than what width than what you see from 40 feet. So, parking changes. One of the issues that the applicant was addressing was to modify the permitted on-street parking locations, and particularly to provide for single-loaded streets in some locations. These will allow for bicycle paths and other types of amenities throughout the development, and these are principally located on the interior streets. So the surrounding streets still remain to be double loaded, but the interior streets that front on most of the parkland are going to are proposed to be single, and then providing for the amenities that are associated with that. And then also an option in the specific plan to allow for reduced parking. And this issue was really relegated to certain product types, residential product types, and the applicant wanted the option to be able to come back to the Planning Commission and or the City Council to be able to demonstrate that in this particular development it made sense, and as such they are would be adding a transportation demand management study that would be required to be considered, and then that would be transmitted to the Planning Commission for their consideration. And even with all of that, there is a minimum established in that, and that would be 1 space per unit plus 1 space for every 4 units for guest parking. And then lastly, the issue of tandem parking. The applicant is asking for at least 30% or up to 30% of the project to have the opportunity to have tandem parking. Staff was also concerned about this issue. Initially, we sat down with the applicant and we were able to work through some of the issues, particularly in the area of storage inside of the garage spaces, and then the issue of the sizes. One of the things that staff was able to demonstrate was that these tandem spaces that we are familiar with in most developments end up being very small, very difficult to navigate. The applicant, based upon that, has expanded the width to as much as 10 feet and the length at 38 feet, which would accommodate the maneuverability you would need inside those tandem spaces. We provided you some of the looks that you could generate even with the tandem parking spaces, and as you can see, it would accommodate not only 2 cars, but then the storage that's associated with it, particularly in an enclosed garage situation. Switching over from the specific plan amendments, I just want to touch upon this because we'll just do a verbal report for the zone change, but I want you to be able to see what the applicant is proposing in this, in concert with what we've discussed previously. The reinstated and expanded CR zone, this commercial recreational zone, would be generally rectangular in shape. So what I did was just generate a diagram that kind of shows you the outline, how it exists presently, and as it exists on the map, and then what it compares to with the new rectangular location. Now, there's a couple of issues that come up with relocating a casino closer to Century Boulevard. First of all, direct access. Most of the casinos that you see throughout the various cities, they have direct access to their casino. The other thing is that the parking structure that was originally proposed that would front on Century Boulevard now can be relocated and be inside and interconnected with the retail component, and that just makes good planning sense. We did note that in November of 1992, the voters did approve the measure that authorized the operation of a card club in the casino, and as such, there's been continuous operation of the casino since then, and there is no anticipation that there'll be any ceasing of operational, even in if this application is approved, even with the construction of the new facility to house the casino. So with that, that concludes staff's presentation, and staff is available for any questions that you may have.
Any persons present that wish to address the council on this matter? Not mandatory, but
Do you have a presentation for the next one as well?
No.
Okay. Shut that down very soon. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Michael Benbow, First District. I followed this this renovation of Inglewood since the beginning, and I found it to be very, very accommodating for the people here, and the very accommodating partners for the city of Inglewood. And this, I suspect, is pretty much the same thing. As consistent as they have been in making their presentations, they have really considered the needs of Inglewood, the growth of this particular area and the area around it. And they have also made concessions for recreation and all sorts of additional things that we are trying to accomplish in the city in the plan. I wholeheartedly agree that this is something that we should approve. I wholeheartedly agree that this is something that's going to make our city better, and we are needed to pay much attention to that so that we can continue building what is anticipated a great structure for this community. So again, just want to make sure that you understand that we feel that this is a very, very, very good plan that's coming forward, and we're pushing for you to approve this and give us a date where we can meet and talk about this in the very near future. Thank you very much.
thank you, Mr. Bimbo.
Good afternoon, Aldine Sly, First District, Mayor, City Council, and staff. This is a beautiful layout. I mean, it's wonderful. But it appears to me that it's going to be completely separate from what we know as the city of Inglewood. I'm wondering who would be able to qualify to live in this gorgeous place that currently lives in Inglewood with the salaries or the income that they make. Most of it sounds high-end, and I'm also wondering if it's going to be a gated or closed community where only the residents who live within this complex, or will other residents be able to go in and enjoy the stores and the private swimming pools and join the private swim club? And these are questions that I have, because it seems like it's going to be a closed community outside of what we know as Inglewood today. So if you could answer some of those questions for me, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Here again, this is a private business, and the community supports private business and development in Inglewood. There's no question about that. Now, the forum will be successful. So let's make that abundantly clear. Hollywood Park, with their development, will be successful. Make no mistake about that. Now, the question arises, mutual benefit to the city. That's the question. And it's always been the question in Inglewood. Mutual benefit. In other words, you get a synergistic effect, not a parasitic relationship like happened in the past. And to avoid that, you got to know where you've been to know where you're going. And if you don't learn from it, then when will you learn? And here again, my message is not doom and gloom, so let's remove that. Inglewood will survive. In spite of anything, Inglewood will be a successful city. Now, the question is, how can you move in such a way that there is in fact mutual benefit from the city? In other words, they call that return on investment. That's very important. And if you don't get any return, then you are philanthropists. And here again, I say, you want to be a philanthropist? Fine. Give away your own money. Don't give away we the people's money that you have control of. And regardless where it comes from, taxpayers' money is taxpayers' money, whether it comes from the state, it comes from Washington, D.C., or it comes local. It is we the people's money. And you must be very much cognizant of what you do with the money, because everybody wants to know where is the money and what did you do with the $1.2 billion? That's the question.
Good afternoon, Leroy Fisher, the First District. I was listening to this gentleman very well as to some of the changes. And, one of the things that we're talking about, getting rid of the cul-de-sacs, I'm kind of concerned about that, because I always imagine those cul-de-sacs as places that kids can, because they don't go straight through, get out and ride their bicycles and play right out in front of a few homes there. So that was one of my concerns. I had a concern also about this live workspace. Here a couple of weeks ago, we talked about live workspace, and we were saying that it was only going to be in certain areas, as I remembered, that were proper for these live workspaces. And now I hear you saying that you're planning on live workspaces there within this new complex. I have a question about this civic center, and I've asked you all about it before. At one time, Hollywood Park had proposed giving 4 acres of this civic center to the city, and the city was going to maybe allow for a civic building that we, the people of the city of Inglewood, don't have access to now. And I thought that was going to be a wonderful idea. I listened to Mr. Garrard here at a Hollywood Park presentation recently, where he said that the city of Inglewood does not have the money for the civic building. And so it was suggested that maybe that money was going to go to, or that property was going to go to the schools, maybe for a school site. I still haven't heard really what the civic money or property is going to be about. But it seems to me, as I suggested to you or asked of you, why didn't you consider working with LA Metro YMCA or some entity that could make this property? And Mayor Butts, I'm sorry, but I just kind of think that something for the young people would be proper. But you don't seem to have the money, and you don't seem to know what, in fact, you're going to do with this property. I also heard them talk about, making these roads narrower, and if they make the roads narrower, then they can add access to bike paths. We need bike paths through this city, but most times when they have bike paths in the city, the roads are wider so that the cars can travel, and the bike paths too. Now, if the complex is already built, like the homes in the city of Inglewood, they already have bike width already. But, to me, there's several questions with regard to the changes that they're proposing, and I don't see that I fully understand them yet. I would that you then would maybe not act on it right away, but I have concerns about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Butts, council, staff, and members of the public. I will be answering questions that arose up here earlier about the project. Project Inglewood Hollywood Park tomorrow will be an open public space for everybody in the city of Inglewood, for actually everybody in the United States to come and enjoy, because it is built with money that was federal, state, local. So if anything like that is involved in any project, it has to be open to the public. Thank you. And as a fact of that, you will open that up to public and HOEs, the HOAs, I should say, homeowners association, will be doing a lot of the park maintenance and stuff that's going on here. And another thing that's going on to happen at this public place will be, excuse me.
Okay, it's a lot to remember.
Okay. Well, let's just say that the project is a public thing, and people will enjoy it because that's the way we want it here in our community. We have a lot of attention going on in this city. The world have eyes on us, as well as Ferguson. I will come back in the second half with my thoughts a little bit better because I got distracted. Thank you.
No problem, there's like 3 more of them. Okay, we're going to close public comment. If you're going to, well, Mrs. Brown, just come forward.
Well, you know, when you get upset when I try to come forward, and then you get upset when I let somebody else have the opportunity to get forward, it's kind of like a mixed message, isn't it? Kind of like the mixed message that this whole project is, isn't it? Because, you know, I was looking at the wonderful tree selections out there, and it kind of seems hypocritical that we kill everything that we have to begin with. You know, all those trees that were there were delightful oxygen-breathing things that would bring us great stuff, and now we're going to have to wait a great long time. My issue with all of this project has and always will be the traffic and lack of traffic mitigation, the whole concept that we are in the midst of a drought, and that doesn't seem to bother anyone, that we're adding all those extra homes that will be using all of that extra water. And yet, throughout this entire process, every time, and let's start with way back yesteryear, I was actually even denied the opportunity to address the draft environmental impact report. How about that? Yes, denied, because I was told by the prior staff person that I was not allowed to see it. So from beginning to end, this project has been not a full disclosure to this community, not genuinely encouraging community involvement, and then up at the last minute you change it, having to do with whatever happened, I'm going to have to assume, at the Gaming Commission last week in Sacramento. Another opaque meeting, even though everybody claims transparency. So, yes, there are a lot of issues with this entire project, from beginning to end, and if someone had been forthright, they might have had much more community support. But when you immediately start saying, no, you don't get to see it, no, you don't get to participate, no, your opinion doesn't matter, guess what? You automatically get what? Resistance, and that's what you've got. I will tell you right now that when it first came to us, and the whole concept of high-end housing with tandem parking, all the way through this project that you're bringing today, it should have been disclosed much earlier than at the last moment between last Thursday and today, and as well as some of the other items on the agenda for today that documents were not available even up until a few hours ago.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I want to address some items that I think at the beginning, Michael and the rest of us, we all followed this project, even George Dotson. We followed this for like 14 years. Now, the good part about this project is when you allow artists, we just approved the artists to move in on West Boulevard and take that area. Suppose you have artists that come in with money and want to design things and want to buy property at Hollywood Park. If you look at it, I'm looking at it as a positive thing, because the first thing, they're not giving the property to them. It also invites small business owners, like I might be the guy like to invent Google. The same type of guy that started with nothing could come in like Uber. Uber is making millions and millions because they're taking the cab business out of business. People like that might want to come and move and buy property here and improve our city. As we said, the $1 billion that we're supposed to be behind on would bring money to pay that back. So why are we killing the revenue to come into the city? I think it's positive. I think those artists have a right to buy property at Hollywood Park and live there. No, it wasn't in the plan. At the beginning, it wasn't. But also, we didn't have artists here. This was the city that didn't even care about an artist. So we made a big deal bringing these artists here, but now we can't allow them to go and buy property at Hollywood Park? Wouldn't that be a catch-22? You have to tell them to stay in the hood? And they can't go and buy some decent property at Hollywood Park? That's not right. It's not right. We come up here and we bicker, which I do too. I disagree too, to some things. I'm not bought and paid for, I'm human. But this is something that really means a lot. This is money that's coming into this city. That's all I have to say about this. Stop beating yourself. You come in and you say things positive, we bring in new things, and then bring in all these artists, then we turn around and we kill it. And we want us to backstab the artists that we brought in. This is the way I'm looking at it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Austin, we don't owe anybody $1 billion.
No.
All right. The only bonds, I understand, but the only bonds that we have out, the voters voted for to fund specific projects, we have general obligation bonds, and we have the revenue sources attached to the property taxes. We don't owe $1 billion to anybody from the general fund. All right. Go ahead.
Mayor, Council, my name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. I remember standing here a few years back when they first started talking about Madison Square Garden buying the farm. I predicted then that that would be the shining star on the hill. I want to stand here today. I'm tell you, this Hollywood Park development is another shining star on the hill. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to be successful. Because of the staff, the council that's behind this. I'm going to give you another reason. I can remember when the Lakers was playing at the Forum, they had a sweetheart deal. The city wasn't getting the share, no way. Hollywood Park, I can remember when they had a sweetheart deal there. That's no more. The city is going to reap the benefits. And that's a good thing. And we have the right leadership in this city to get this job done. I totally support this, the changes. I stayed up last night, went on the internet, and I looked at the project. It is awesome. It fits Inglewood. We're going to have everybody living here, rich, poor, and middle class. You know, that's America for you. It's not supposed to be for rich or poor. This is going to be an American city. I dreamed about that 18 years ago when I started coming to this council meeting. You ever see your dream come true? My dream is coming true. And that's because of who's making it, these people right here. I want to thank you. I'm proud of all of you. You never hear me get up here and say, call anybody's name. When I say naysayers, if it fits,
Excuse me.
wear it.
Mr. Matthew, would you go out in the hallway if you're going to talk, please? Thank you, sir. Go ahead, we'll give you 20 seconds.
Never call anybody's name. If I say naysayer, if it fits your feet, then wear it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I'm Gloria Taylor, and while I was sitting here listening, I had to reminisce a little bit. I bought land in the racetrack maybe 50 years ago. It was called International Recreational Park. And as the years go by, it was a racetrack, greatest thing in the country. Millions of people have been there. It's historical. And now, you look back 50-something years later, the concept has changed. And over the years, we look at it, which we thought was going to be a stadium and housing, commercial buildings, all of this together. But I always thought the land belonged to the city and the state. You could lease it for 50 years, but you can't buy it to sell to individual people because it's there. And that's what I was thinking here, private enterprise. People coming here and try to buy the land that's been here for years and years and years. And it's been proven that there have been millions of people that have enjoyed the recreation of the racetrack, and why take it away? I understand that UCLA and the college football teams, they've been using Pasadena all these years. So Patsy said, our revenue's going there. But only place in our area would be this area, and there's 100-yard field there, and all of the structures there, but to build around it. So how are you going to destroy something which was historical and had been proven to be successful many, many years? Inglewood has more housing units, I think, than any small city in the state. You have so much housing, more than anybody. And so the revenue and the pleasure that you give to the citizens and the profit from the lease of the land, and we call it profit sharing on businesses. And right now you have profit sharing that should be coming from your Crenshaw Plaza that I don't think you've considered. And that would keep the citizens and the taxpayers feeling that they're getting something for their money, that they're paid for 20 years, lived here, some live at 30 years. The newcomers, it's a new day for them, but let them enjoy the historical land and the area of the racetrack. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and the rest of you. I'm here to complain, not about the project, about the way you're letting the project run. Out there today, heavy equipment is moving, few people moving on the job, but you have no way of placing any of the young people that live in Inglewood and pay for this on the job. I know they need to go to school. I try to go in the military because they will train you how to do anything you want to do. But they don't want to do that. They want to stay out on the street, and they do want to work, some of them. I have 3 grandsons living in the city of Inglewood that I do not take care of. You can believe that. But they need to be able to go to work. Now, I'm going to ask the council. Elroy, I know you already know, but I'm going to ask the rest of the council that don't know. Make sure that you fix it on the job. So when they come out to look for a job, you can't go in Hollywood Park. You cannot go in the casino. They will not tell you where to go until I come to see the mayor. I lowered myself, I lowered my standard. It hurt me too. This was no different in 1945 in Alabama to me. Matter of fact, it's the same thing, that's when I can work it. Because all I had to do was go to the white man Mr. Henry Kizard, he tell me where to go. But they would say when I got there, you got a job. Go to these places y'all send me. They won't tell me I got a job. Say, go see so-and-so. I'm hoping that you do build a football stadium here. I'm hoping you put a rail line in here because I work construction. I go to work every day, even at men ages age. In the book it says somewhere in the days of old. And these are good times for me, Joy Dodson, because you got me by a couple of years. But this, I'm going to tell you, if you don't fix a way that these young people can go to work, you're going to have another Missouri here. Now, try to prevent the erosion before it starts. I know, ma'am, I'm talking at the wrong time, but I got to go because I got to go home.
All right.
Would you please do that for me? Thank God to you.
Okay, everybody, we're talking about the, no, I'm talking to you, no, you're good, you're good. You're done. We're good, Mr. Burt. No, I'm just, well, Bill, I'm just telling you, I'm reminding you that we're talking about this specific item. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Inglewood family, you know me. I'm Wild Bill Widener, and probably the longest resident in this building, and probably maybe even in the city today. I don't know, but I've seen Hollywood Park go through a lot of things. I sold newspapers down there at one time, and I learned a lot about people, you know, winners and losers and all that stuff by doing that stuff. But, you know, we knew many, many years ago that the racing business was going down and everything, and that there'd be changes. And I'm really glad to see that that's in effect in my lifetime, you know. I think you need to do more maybe to plan how to get more of those people out of the airport and into the city of Inglewood, you know, because I think you've been missing out on that. But I'm in full regard of hoping that this goes through, and it goes through, and I'm sure they'll work out the individual things because they've been working hard on it for a long period of time. I've been to several of the meetings and stuff. There's only one thing I'm opposed to about that whole thing, and that's putting the church steeple on the corner of Prairie and Century. I don't see a point in that myself, but I don't know, it wasn't on the things they mentioned today, but you know, I think it should be something more attractive to people coming in to the area and those planes and stuff, and they come in and they see whatever it is. So maybe they could put something really attractive. I thought about a rocket ship or a flying saucer or something more up to date than being Vatican West, you know. We got 100 churches in this city, and I'm sure there's enough other church steeples here already. So with that, that's my opinion anyway.
Thank you, sir. Back, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. With the Hollywood Park project, this comes as no surprise to me. I guess I have a level of ambivalence about it. It's all going to come down to two things: greatest and best use, and location, 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 also known as market. They may have to make other revisions to put it in position of greatest and best use. This is going to take years yet to unfold, but we all have to accept the fact that the wheels are turning. Hollywood Park has been closed. They're putting the wrecking ball to it. It's not coming back. And we can't end up with just a big vacant field in the end. And so I say definitely be observant and mindful. That's what your mayor and council and staff is for. Ask questions. The Hollywood Park, tomorrow, representatives are available, so people, let's just see what happens. I'm optimistic, but we'll see. Hey, I think we'll be fine. However, I got a daughter that says it'll be a football stadium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Close public comment. Council comments, or we can take the vote. Comment from Councilman Frank.
Thank you, Mayor. There has been a lot of misinformation or not knowledge of information of what's correct that came from the public, particularly when I hear a resident say that the government should stay out of the development. It's ludicrous. I have to tell you, you have had this council to safeguard and preserve the taxpayers' money, and that for that kind of comment to go out is apparently you're not in tune to what really is going on. I also wanted to address the concern raised by the young lady that thought this was city-owned property. This property has been owned since the 30s by the celebrities and the movie stars for years, and recently, and I will say, I think it's 2004, that Churchill Downs sold it to Hollywood Park Land Company. And so, that being the case, we were blessed as this council and the developers of the investment to keep the investors still interested in 238 development project. And so we have been working regularly for the last 5 years or longer to make sure that there's still a viable interest. I think what also is important that in '09, and I'm looking at some of the people that remember this, we had 11 public hearings about land use changes and other things that we were going to do. And I just want to stress, part of this negotiations as the government of the city of Inglewood is that we preserve the general fund money that normally is generated by the Hollywood Park racetrack that we are still receiving today, and Hollywood Park racetrack is closed. This is why we have to be involved. We also negotiated a street setback on Century Boulevard and Prairie, so therefore that we can have the anticipated increase in traffic, but using their land, and that's why you see the trees and others being removed in order to accommodate that. We also negotiated for project labor agreements, so then that way those jobs are being paid the union scale wages for this development, predominantly for the retail component. I also want to talk about local hiring. And if you came to the Council District 4 Town Hall meeting, you would have heard that the Workforce Investment Board is in partnership with Hollywood Park Land Company to identify that we are going to work on local hiring. We're also going to be in compliance with the other language we put in there about disadvantaged business enterprise so that minority contractors can have skin in the game, as some people would say, and make sure it's paid. And unbeknownst to you, and what really mind-boggling is that I look at the representatives from Hollywood Park Land Company and their consultants, that we had days, weeks, months of outreach to the public about what do you want to see this land to be modified to, and the public has gave their input to make sure that this is what we want to see. And so as a consequence, you are part of this development, whether you like it or not. I also think it's critical you understand about the flow of traffic, that there was at least 60 intersections that's going to have the signalization modified, and 10 of those intersections include the city of Los Angeles. Yes, it is true that there's going to be a number of homes, in the plan anyway, for development that is going to be purchased by individuals in not a gated community, but an open environment for the community. But yes, there's going to be some amenities that is set aside for those owners, rightfully so. So they'll have their swimming pool and their multi-purpose room, those kind of things, that won't be access to the public because that's their investment as well. But I think it's also critical that we negotiated at this council to identify that there's 25 acres of green space that has to be maintained by city workers, which means other employment at union scale rate. There's also the Public Works Department that has to maintain the streets, the sidewalks, and the lights that we have to maintain, again, maintaining our city employees as well. Yes, if you read the package, they talk about 4 acres set aside for public use by the city. Those are city 4 acres, and that we're going to decide and reach out to the public about what is the best use for this civic use. And many people have talked about having a future community center. I also thought it was interesting to note, and I was a little concerned about reducing the parking, but with time, there's changes, and you have to change with the uses of the, Mayor, can I get 1 minute, please?
You sure can.
You want to use the purpose that there's been changes specifically about the flow of traffic, how people get from point A to point B. People are now encouraged to get out of your vehicles and start walking more and start using the bicycle. And so we haven't had the routes yet. Now we're working on the bicycle routes that you've asked for, and we've been working on. I think what's also critical is that they are in tune of what is going on today, and that is electrical vehicles and other hybrid vehicles. So therefore, you don't need the large tandem parking spaces that you want to have because the vehicles are smaller. There's more needs of people using bicycles as opposed to for using these larger vehicles like the SUVs, et cetera. So these are the changes, and they're adjusting to the infrastructure that's going to be needed to accommodate this use. So that being said, Mayor, I wholeheartily support this project. Thank you, Renee.
God.
I've been on this for many years. Many years.
They must have jelly beans in your office.
Mayor, I'll move 1 and 2.
Okay, okay, Councilman Padilla.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. First, I just want to thank Linda Tatum, she's in the audience, and Chris for this great presentation and for addressing my questions I had earlier when we met together with the city manager. Your presentation was absolutely right on point. It helped clarify a lot of concerns. I hope for everybody here that this is a partnership. This is not something we just jump into. This is something that's liquid. There's going to be changes that are going to occur as we transition on to the different phases of this development. So just understand that this is not something that's going to happen overnight, that just because we approve something today doesn't mean that it's not going to come back in front of us in the future. That's probably going to be the case several times. But know that we're doing our homework, know that we're reaching out to the experts to make sure that the decisions we make that are going to impact us not only for today, but for the future. This is something that's going to be here and going to continue to put Inglewood on the map for all the right reasons. It's about moving forward. Somebody said, hey, how do we know people are going to be able to afford to live here? We have a lot of folks that can afford to live here. We have a lot of folks that are going to be moving here. You know, Inglewood, as you see it today, is moving in the right directions. You know, so we're going to help move that. But again, I just want to thank staff for putting together an excellent presentation. Thank you.
It's real quick because Councilman Franklin, you took all the oxygen out of this side. Good guy. But I just wanted to affirm something that, one, we're fortunate. For the last 3.5 years, I've been dealing with Gerard and Amy, who represent the project. And we're fortunate in the city that we're dealing with people that not only want to build a project to make money, but have a sense of local responsibility and community responsibility. That's important. But it's also important that government be involved. I heard Mr. Matthews say that we need to stay out of it. I got to tell you, that's one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard, because as good as they are, the only people that are going to look after the city and community's interests in the aggregate is going to be the council. You know, we have to make sure there are local hiring agreements. We have to make sure, as with the forum, things like we have 16 community days where we can use the forum free of charge. So without government being involved, there's nobody to make sure that we get our share of the golden eggs. But the big key is that you don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs, and we recognize that. So we work. So Mr. Mathau, you do need government involved to look after government and the people, and that's what we're doing. As far as the question about who's going to buy, it's going to be the people that qualify for the loans. That's the way it works in America. If a house costs a certain price and you qualify the loan, then you can live there. Any Inglewood resident can live there that qualifies for the loan for whatever range of house it is. It's just that simple. We're fortunate that we've negotiated things like income smoothing for our revenue from the farm, that over a 3-year rolling average, we're guaranteed $600,000 a year, and it's over a 3-year period of time. But we want to make much more than that. So no, government does have to be involved to look after the residents, not because it's an adversarial relationship, but because there are interests, and we look for that big win-win. And when you have that win-win, then more people want to come and do business here. And the proof's in the pudding. More people do want to come and do business here. Madam Clerk, could you call for the vote?
Councilmembers Dodson?
Aye.
Padilla?
Aye.
Morales?
Aye.
Franklin?
Aye.
Mayor Butts?
Aye. Madam Clerk?
Motion
Oh,
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmembers Dodson?
Aye.
Padilla?
Aye.
Morales?
Aye.
Franklin?
Aye.
Mayor Butts?
Aye.
Aye, introduce.
Madam Clerk, what is the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive public comments to consider a zone change to reinstate and expand the CR zone to facilitate and relocation of the Hollywood Park Casino and surrounding areas.
Notice that hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law. And do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Manager, is there a staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chris Jackson, Senior Planning Manager, will give the staff report.
Please.
Again, good afternoon, Mayor Butts and members of the City Council. I went through a pretty detailed presentation privately, so I won't bore you with all the details again. Just, you understand the scope, and we've explained all the details. We're just, if there's any questions, staff is available to answer those questions.
All right. Is there any person from the public that'd like to comment on the matter?
Roy Fisher, the First District. To begin with, I heard Councilman Franklin clarify one thing, and I had concerns about it too, as many of the residents of the city had, and it was regarding the removal of those trees that might be 100 and 150 years old. It seems to me that you've said that they were going to widen the streets. Well, great that they're going to widen the streets, but it just seemed to me that they could have maybe taken some of those trees and put them in the parks or did something positive with them rather than just cut them down like they did. You know, and you're talking about community involvement. You know, I thought this is what these public hearings were all about, for us to come in here, give you our thoughts about them, and have some dialogue or response from you about them. I know that for many years, you know, I have been here asking questions and continue to ask questions. I asked questions about the civic property that Mr. Garrard said that we didn't have any money to do anything with. And you them still haven't given any kind of answer as to, you know, what we are going to do with that civic property. We don't have any place in this city for residents to come together and to meet. You know, you talk about the ICOP Center, and you know, you get all up in arms when people talk about coming together to talk about politics or something that involves all of us. You can't do that here. You know, we should be able to go any place in this city that we choose to and talk about anything that impacts the city that we choose to. You know, these people at Hollywood Park, this racetrack thing, I'm sorry, the racetrack is gone and this fine is gone. But with regard to that casino over there, it seems to me that, you know, we keep issuing all these provisional licenses to these people. When are they going to get a group of people in there that you can give a final license to, and it doesn't have to be a provisional license? Is the state concerned about the people that are here, or what is all that about? You know, this casino, it's fine. You know, I had always been against it from the beginning because I always thought it took money away from people that didn't need to be in those casinos anyway. However, it's here, and hopefully, you know, it's going to be a positive thing for the city, and maybe make some money for this city. But, you know, again, when it comes to people asking questions about, you know, what's going on in the city, we ought to be able to come here, ask those questions, and get some positive answers rather than just commendation or being condemned about it. You know, I won't accept any condemning from any of you, you know, because that's just me.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Gil Matthew, District 4. On the casino relocation, so the casino is going to be demolished and a new one built, is that correct? I didn't understand what you were saying in that.
Just go ahead and with your
And it'll be
comment.
relocated and so forth. Now, the question comes up when I made a statement about government involved in private business. What I'm telling you is less intrusion. You have a right to do it because you control the zoning, you control the infrastructure, you control the Melrose. I understand very well. So make no mistake about that, Mr. Franklin and Mr. Butts. Now, I'm very much in tune with it. Now, you're talking about government involvement. What you should be involved in is the oversight of that casino, which you never did. In fact, you gave away 6 years of taxpayers' money. Now, you two weren't here, you weren't here. These two were. You had a provisional tax table, a discount tax table. You gave away 90...
1 second. Is someone out there going, in the back?
Hey, my time.
Well, please, Mr.
Well, give me back my time.
Would you stop?
Give him stop.
We really need to just stop that. That's not mature. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, you're talking about where government should be involved. Yes, it should, in terms of protecting the taxpayers' return on the investment that they have given to these businesses. What oversight have you done on prevailing wages? None. What have you done on local hiring? Nothing. So you pick and choose where you want to be involved. Back to casino. We gave away, for a $3 million loan, gave away $96,000 a month of taxpayers' money for 6 years. So don't stand here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And don't tell me about how much debt we in. I know that too. Mr. Fields knows it. So you can sit here all you want and talk about, what are we going to pay interest on that? You're the chairman of the Oversight Commission. You have the same information I have. And yet you sit here and deny it, and it's disturbing. And when are you going to have an Oversight Commission? These two never been to Oversight Commission. I doubt if they even know what it is. You see, but this is what I'm talking about. You nice people. It's just that the leadership is not here for this time. This is the big leagues. This is not Class Z League. This is the future of Inglewood we're talking about. So get real. You can condemn me all you want and take anything I say, and
Thank you,
we
Mr.
can
Fisher.
debate it.
Excuse me, Mr. Matthew, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, Michael Bendo, First District. One of the things that I'd like to encourage the citizens of Inglewood to do is to get more informed about the project. And one way is to tune into the project, and their website is HollywoodParkLife.com. You'll find most of the information that you're probably asking questions about now there, and you'll be able to get the answers to these before you go to public meetings and that sort of thing to find out about what's going on. Again, that's HollywoodParkLife.com. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes?
I need to ask a question. If everyone is so upset about this zone change, why is that? Are they moving the casino across the street, or? What's the big deal? I just need to know what is the zone change. I thought they was just tearing it down and moving it 2 inches or 2 feet and over. I just want to know why everyone is upset.
I couldn't tell you that.
Is the zone change a big deal? Are we taking away from the public and the drivers?
No, it stays on their property.
It just stays there, so this is just an automatic permit to reinstate?
No, we're reviewing a zone change, just as the public hearing is titled.
Oh, just like the meeting's going to. They trying to change it to, okay. Well, we've been keeping up with that. Okay.
Welcome.
Aldine Sly again, First District. I'm beginning to feel that these public hearings are just a formality because I believe the City Council's already made the decision, which will be evident by the vote. And public doesn't really have much input. A lot of us don't have computers where we can go in and look and read the details. But from what I see and what I have been seeing all along is that the vote goes the way the City Council wants it to go, not necessarily how the residents want it to go.
How did you want it to go, Ms. Sly?
My name is Willie A.G. Wholeheartedly support this. There's evidently a reason why they changing the zone. It's I have an idea myself, and I believe it's a good thing. There's a reason for it, but it's just hard for me to really understand some of the questions that come up here. You know, it's hard. You know, I was born in a cotton field.
Folks, could we please not talk in the audience? Everyone listens when you speak, please. Thank you.
I was born in a cotton field, and I was taught common sense. And folks, that's what I use when I come up here, just common sense. And I think that's what it takes. And like I said, we got people on this council who know what to do, and staff. And hey, the greatest city clerk, the greatest city treasurer in the United States. Let's stretch it a little bit. And the mayor is a leader. Thank you.
I don't think there's anything more evident that your wish to have a police state as you're calling out people who the person sitting next to them cannot hear, that you tell them to be quiet from considerably farther away.
Mr. Brownell?
Yes.
You want to talk about the public hearing?
I am. This
Okay,
is a public
okay.
hearing,
Then-
and that is what
then,
I am
Mrs.
speaking to.
Brownell.
It would be most appropriate if you not interrupt me, and maybe you would hear the connection. It is a public hearing, and I'm going to address the concept of the wording of this, that you seem to suggest that none of us could be able to read. But it says to reinstate and expand. That's a big word. I don't know. Did they teach that way back a while ago when y'all went to school? Expand does not mean it is the same size, but in fact larger. The CR zone, and to facilitate the relocation, which means it won't be in the same place, does it? When I relocate either the glass or the cup of the table in front of me, it is not where it was when I originally sat down. So your intent to misrepresent or to tell us that we can't read and understand, because apparently some of you think we have only a limited amount of common sense, will not fly for the majority of this community. It is inappropriate on all levels for you to sit here and to rebut us when in fact you should be listening to our concerns. You are to represent us, not to tell us what to think. We are not your children. And apparently that is something that you have lost sight of in a very humongous way. It is unfortunate that you somehow think that the people in this community are not nearly as intelligent, are as skilled, as talented, world aware than you are. But that seems to be a common consensus up here, and that may not serve you well in the future.
Good afternoon. Once again, I'm Stuart Bailey, Mayor, Council, staff, and members of the public. I'm here to speak about the casino. The casino is an old casino, even though the card part, the first floor, has been updated, but the upper floors are just old and dilapidated. So it is about time that it has been upgraded and moved on this site to be a jewel for the future of Hollywood Park. The casino will bring revenue to the city, and it's just the site alone will make more people want to come and gamble. Even though gambling is something that I don't enjoy or I advocate against, but there are people that do it, so who am I to say you cannot do it? It's like alcohol, okay? Please have common sense when doing these things. That's all I ask. But the relocation will be a good thing, and I just want to say this project will be a success with the involvement of government and the local people working as one. And if we seem like we don't hear each other, maybe if we stop yelling at each other and actually listen, we'll hear each other. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. I got $1 on the line. I need to ask a question. Let's just say somebody moves here with a football team. Can they even have a casino near it?
Bless you.
There has to be a certain segregation that occurs, that they're not situated on the same parcel.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
We'll close public comment. Are there any council comments?
Yes,
Okay.
we've got one thing.
Wait a minute. Councilman Dotson's fired up right now. Go ahead.
Since I have been part of this project since the very beginning, as chairman of the Planning Commission, I've seen this project come full circle, and when anybody comes up here and tell me that this had not been an open process from the very beginning, I mean, to the point where these people had someone hired that went out into the neighborhood and went to the different block clubs to get information. They're having meetings this Thursday night at the casino if you want to be involved. And they had one, I think, either last week or a week before. So this process is about as open as it gets. So please don't, those of you who don't know, don't go away from this council meeting thinking that this process has not been open. It's been open ever since they opened the first page. And I've been involved in it. We've had, I don't know how many public hearings at the Planning Commission level. And basically what we're doing now is we're allowing our creative minds like Linda and Chris to do what we pay them to do. So, you know, let's keep our eye on the ball. This is a great thing. It's a great thing for the city of Inglewood. So let's look at it like that. And the moving of the casino, it's going to be a great thing for the whole city. At least now someone will be able to see it and they'll know it's there. And know exactly what it is. When you come down Century Boulevard, you're going to see this. And it's going to be a lovely place. It's going to be a great looking place. I mean, if you look at the renderings and stuff that they have in the book, I mean, let's not argue about things that, you know, how much sweetening in the cake, because we're getting all of it. And the people that you see sitting up here, including the mayor and everybody else, we're working for you. We're not sitting here for ourselves. I don't come down here because I want to come sit on this dais. I come down here and sit because I want to make sure that the city of Inglewood gets the best it can get out of whatever we doing. So please, let's keep it like that. And Chris and Linda and the whole planning department, thank you so much for doing your job. And I think you guys have done a great job along with Hollywood Park and Gerard and all. And I know that they will keep doing what they're doing as far as letting the people know. And thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Morales and then Councilman Franklin.
Thank you. Just briefly, we've seen so many items come through about this Hollywood Park project in the last 4 or 5 years. And I have to say that this is probably the project that's been the best thought out, the most staff. We have professional consultants on this. Hollywood Park has been great because they've worked with us in a way that makes us know that we're doing it our way. We have our say in this huge $2 billion project. And I have to say that those little things that get pointed out every time any item comes up here, we realize that we're going to hear comments regarding the project as a whole. But I'll tell you that this project is a project that is so good for the city. Not only has it brought us some good, just simple, at its simplest form, it was been good publicity. But other than that, it has really motivated other investors to take a look at this city as something serious. Something serious where we can speak to larger projects. The forum can really grab a hold of this. And I got to tell you, as big as the forum was, it's nothing compared to what this project is going to be. Whether it becomes, and it's been mentioned in terms of possible state. Oh, okay. No, well. Hey, let me just tell you, the forum may not like it, but I have to say that overall the impact, they go hand in hand, and Hollywood Park is a huge impact for this city. We get the opportunity to say that every time that we hear speakers challenging this project. So that much we appreciate. But the investment that has gone and the thought process that has gone through this project makes it easy to continue to support it. And I know that this is a public hearing about something else, but it gives everybody an opportunity to voice their support. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Franklin.
Yes, once again, there was some comments raised by the public. One person in particular identified that Councilman Morales and myself were here when the negotiation and terms and conditions were raised for the Hollywood Park Casino. I want to stress that two things. One, the voters made the decision of having a casino here in the city of Inglewood, just one. And it said it only could be on the Hollywood Park properties. So we could move it around, but it can only remain that one location. And that was in 1994. My colleague and I didn't start till 2003. So all those terms and conditions that were made was way before our time. So I asked the resident that when you make these comments, that you make sure you understand the facts, or ask us before you make these comments without it being factual. The other thing of concern is that if you look at the Hollywood Park land property itself, the topography, it's up and down, hilly. And so the concern is that when we have the 600,000 plus square feet of retail that's going to be two-story on the corner of Prairie and Century, it's going to hide the casino. There's 7 card clubs in in LA County, of which are in 6 cities. We have 1. And we have to have a competitive edge, and the players need to see the location. Freeway access off of a boulevard, and yes, by it being buried into this major development, people will have difficulty locating it. So there's been discussions raised with the self-reliant government of joint powers of authority, and I serve on that commission on behalf of this council representing the city, of how critical it is that when this mass development was going to happen, how important it was to have the players have it access. And then also of concern, it hasn't been discussed here, is that there will be a seamless transition. They will not demolish the current casino until the new casino is built, and also letting it know that this council needs that to happen because our general fund of nearly $4 million is annually to our budget. And we got to make sure we solidify that in order to maintain our budget. So these are the business concepts that is needed in order for the casino to be a win-win. And I have to tell you, there's a number of items that are before the Gaming Commission that the city has a major impact of how it's going to affect our revenue stream here at Hollywood Park. And this is one of the things we need, and that is having a competitive edge or at least a level playing field by being able to have our casino relocated. Thank you very much, Mayor. And I move items 1 and 2.
I got to ask the city clerk and the treasurer, because I only trust them. Did I tell anybody how to think?
Did you tell anybody what?
Did I tell anybody how to think about this project tonight? Did you hear me do that? I didn't think so. I just got to go wow for a minute. This project, help me with Gerard, what, 2007 or so you bought the property? 2005. And this has got to be one of the most talked about, discussed, public hearing projects that I've ever heard of. So for someone to say it's not transparent, that just brings me back to this big wow. And it doesn't matter to me who approved what in 1997, 2007, 2008. That doesn't make any difference. You know what should make a difference? Are we going to make stuff happen in this town or not? Are we going to sit here and cry in our beer about or milk about, you know, what someone did that we didn't like 8, 9 years ago, and you were on the council and you weren't it? What does that matter? Here's all that matters. We're here. We have a responsibility to get it done and make the best of everything that we have in front of us. And that's what we're going to do. So keep coming up and crying about who did what in 97, 2007. I don't care. Hold me responsible for what we do right now. I'm good with that. That's what we're here to do. And right now, there is more happening in this town than I can think of in recent decades. So that's what we're going to do. I think it's great. I think it's great to have a new casino. I think it's great to have it more visible. And I think it's great to give us flexibility for things that may come in the future. So I'm all with it. Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Council members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Franklin. Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Franklin. Mayor Butts.
Aye, and I'll introduce. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter? Oh, one more thing. Every third Thursday, there's a meeting over at the casino to discuss the project, the hiring timetables, and the project timetables. So I want to make that clear to everybody. What's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive public comment on the city's 2014 local development report and approve the city's conformance with the Los Angeles County Congestion Management Program.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in a time, form, and manner required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have there any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report?
Yes, Louis Atwell, Public Works Director, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Mr. Atwell.
Glad to be here. Thank you. I don't know where everybody's going. This is such an important item. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. The item you have before you is a public hearing to receive comments from the public regarding a recommendation to adopt a resolution certifying that the City of Inglewood is in conformance with the LA County Congestion Management Plan. The state of California requires all counties to prepare and regularly update the Congestion Management Plan, which includes a local development report to monitor the impact of local growth on regional transportation systems, mitigate congestion, and better integrate transportation and land use planning. LA County Metropolitan Transportation Authority acts as the congestion management authority for Los Angeles County by collecting information about development activity from local governments. This information is reported in the Local Development Report, which includes building permit issuance data for the period of June 1st, 2013 through May 31st, 2014. Every city in Los Angeles County must submit an LDR, which is a Local Development Report, to Metro in electronic format, which includes building permit issuance data, land use type, number of new dwelling units, and new gross square footage for non-residential development. The CMP conformance procedures require a public hearing to receive input from the public on the CMP, and then, following the public hearing, adoption by the mayor and council. That concludes my report.
Are there any members of the public that want to comment on the matter? Yes, Mr. Davis. And I appreciate you raising your hand, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Just out of curiosity, what, I guess, what's the word I'm reaching for? What is the measuring factor for?
The metrics?
Yeah, for the density that the requirements want us to adhere to? Like how many square feet go to commercial, to residential? Is that how it works?
May I respond?
Yes, yes, sir.
What the city does is, through the Building and Planning Department, is the Planning and Building Department reports any new development to the county and then to the state. So if there's a new commercial development, they report the square footage that's being developed and possibly the amount of traffic that's developed from it. So that way they can determine how many more roadways, how much wider the streets need to be, busing systems, gas tax, money that comes into the city. That's what it helps determine.
Okay. I'll just ask one more question. I'll sit down if you want to answer it. It's, where is Inglewood? Are we close to the limit, somewhere in between, or a long ways away? And thank you for your time.
I can't answer that question.
Gil Matthew, District 4. Yeah, I was follow up what the gentleman was asking. If we have a specific plan, and it has to, of course, be in agreement with the county's plan, and since we having developments in this city, at this time, it seems to be a lot of interest in going vertical, which means that we're going to have a tremendous increase in density. My question to you, Mr. Atwell, Inglewood is only 9 square miles. And what is the limit as far as the county's plan? Do we have a limit as to how much we can increase in density, or in terms of projected population, or in projected into how many more autos and so forth that these new projects will involve in?
That's not a question for Mr. Atwell. He's not the last word on land use here, so.
Not the last word. I'm only asking in terms of our local development report in relationship to the land management that is done by the county congestion management. I'm asking the relationship that we must conform to what they're saying. Because if it is, I don't know what the county did with the amount of congestion on the west side. And I've been here over 50 years and so forth, and I hate to drive into the west side, so we are blessed in the South Bay. And if anybody has been over to West LA and that area lately, it's very difficult in driving over there anytime. I mean, it's just horrendous. And that was the question. In terms of, do we have a say in terms of what would be manageable here? Or do we simply conform to the county's program?
Thank you.
Thanks for asking for public input, the Roy Fisher of the First District. And with regard to this congestion report, you know, I had always had concerns about this Metro Rail going through the city and over to, I guess, the airport in the end. And so my comment with regard to that whole thing is that this congestion is going to impact residents of the city with regard to this rail not going underground. And I know that, you know, they have now allowed that, but it needs to be said that there are people within this city, City of Inglewood, that are concerned that this rail that's going to go through the city is going to add to the congestion rather than to alleviate directly in the city of Inglewood because of, again, this not going underground. I know that in the valley they had certain regulations that will not even allow these Metro Rail things without them going underground. And it's too bad that we couldn't have fought more for that with regard to less congestion of this city and safety of the residents here in the city, and particularly along certain corridors in the city. And I think that if you know the city, you kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm concerned with that.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I wanted to ask a question. Since this is the project with the county about congestion, Beach Avenue on Eucalyptus and Beach, is there some type of plan to do something about that dip, Louis? The Metro does, the bus come through there, but I tell you what, that's the worst part of the city that we have is in your district, Alex Padilla. Something needs to be done about that street where Marvin Engineers there, the buses already tear up the street, which is cool though, because we need the buses to come through there. But that part of your district is very, very bad. And Louis is the guy that could handle that. Also, that railroad track over there by Faithful Central, it's terrible. Can we say that this is added into this congestion with Metro? Could something be done over there, council members, to help Padilla do something about that? Because we really need that taken care of. And Marvin Engineer, that's a big company. And they don't have enough parking, which they should, but they don't. Is it some type of way, Alex, we could tear down, have them to tear down that old ugly building that caught a fire? They're using it for parking, which they could do something, because right in there, the people park on Beach to go to work. Alex, it's bad. It's really bad. And I know you guys, the police officers, when they coming down Beach for emergency or the emergency vehicles, fire department, it's terrible. Guys, Louis, somebody need to do something. Alex, please, if there's any kind of way you could work on that, could you please put this on the project? And thanks, Louis, you the best.
No, thanks.
Well, Mr. Atwood, we're not going to get into an engineering study on water channels and why you have to have certain amount of drainage, and we're not going to go on all that right now. Suffice to say, the street is like that for a purpose, and a lot of it is due to the way water flows when it...
Well, I brought Keith with me, and I was thinking maybe we could blame it on him, but... Yeah, typically, the dips are naturally occurring, and they do carry water with them. And if we were to raise the street, then we would impact the flood control in the area, and as well as some of the homes. But this plan, the congestion management plan, is just a tracking document, and it's strictly for tracking the amount of development within the city.
Not going to go back and forth. That's it. Ms. Austin.
My name is Willie A.G., Mayor, Council. Sometimes you have to look in the past to give you some guidance for the future. I've been in the city of Inglewood for 53 years. I remember when Hollywood Park was at its peak. You know, there's cars all up and down Central Boulevard. And when the Lakers was playing, you know, there was plenty traffic. When the game was over at the Forum, when the racetrack closed, within 20 minutes, the traffic done cleared out. And with the new design of the traffic movement here in this city, that's the best in the West, with Mr. Lewis Atwell involved in designing. I'll guarantee you, the traffic is going to move regardless of how much new traffic we have coming in. It's going to move. I don't think there'll be as much traffic as they had during the Hollywood Park days and the Forum. Yeah, you know about how many people. There's lots of people there. I don't think that there's going to be nearly that kind of traffic. Central Boulevard improved, and there's a lot of improvement. And I think the traffic is going to move. It'll be a lot better than West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, all of those areas. I think the people are going to move out of this city. And what we want them to do is come into this city and spend some of that money. That's what we want. Thank you. Inglewood is on the move.
Thank you, Mr. A.G.
Good afternoon once again, Mayor, Council, staff, and members of the public. Impact study, I would like to be done because we have the metro coming. That's one construction project that'll be affecting Florence, all the way from Crenshaw, all the way down through our city. Another thing is Century Boulevard, because it will be affected by the Hollywood Park project construction, from the airport all the way down through our city. These are beautiful things that are happening, but there will be traffic impacts upon the residents of Inglewood. I've seen it, and it's not going to be a pretty picture. You have the Forum that has events going on during the weekend. It's just a nightmare, you know. And I understand, Mayor, we're working as hard as we can on these traffic problems and lessen the impact of problems on the residents of Inglewood. But as we know the future, like I said, with the metro coming and the construction of the Hollywood Park, and then we're talking about even further in the future with the football stadium, maybe or maybe not even coming to the city, what are we looking at as far as impacting the whole residents of Inglewood plus the outlying areas around us, you know, because this is a monetary thing. It's a road rage thing because people don't like traffic and they don't have the patience anymore in these days. So these are just my concerns for the city in the upcoming years. Because I know right now we're just in the baby infant steps, but when we get into those major steps, there are going to be some issues we're going to have to clearly have meetings and tell the residents that they have to be patient because this is something that's good for them as well as their revenues and things that we're bringing other entities of people into the city so that we can all learn how to get along. These are just my comments. Thank you, and everybody have a beautiful week. Thank you.
President and Council again. I just can't help but sit here and have to make a few remarks, because when you get 83, you want to be able to say what's on your mind. I was just listening to the gentleman, and some of them don't realize that our airport's going to be the largest in the country. And you can't stop the planes from coming in, and the population will be coming in. And we have hotels all down Century Boulevard. And if you don't go along with progress, you get left behind, because we can't stop progress. And that's what's happening here today. We have progress and development, population explosion, but we have to deal with it. And the young man's not as old as I am, but there is, like you said, revenue. It's a win-win situation, and people are going to come to California, sunny California. Our weather's excellent, and we have a competition in sports, and sports is our greatest show on earth, from the Olympics all the way down. More people participate in something that keeps them physical fit, enjoy it, and it gives them a relaxation of their mental health. So I would just want to make that one comment. Don't forget the airport's developing, and it's going to be the largest, and that's federally. The county's coming in now, and the county has responsibilities, and then the city has responsibilities. But they're all working together for progress, because we can't stop the progress. And everybody all over the world, they want to come to want to come to the United States, so we just have to get ready for the population explosion. And progress will be here. I think our dreams will come true, and we will be happy as a community and as a city. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
With regard to traffic mitigation, I always think it's important that we go back and see where our intersections currently lie on those nice little scale of A to F on how we're doing. And I know, because I've done so many of the airport studies, that frequently our intersections do not move in the A category, and frequently they're in the B, C, D, and occasionally F. Since we are so close to the airport, we do need to consider that. And we need to consider that while the traffic did leave Hollywood Park, the Laker games quickly, that was when one event was taking place, not when there were 10,000 people living right next door, who also need to get to and from their homes on a consistent and regular basis, unless we tell them that if there's an event at the forum, they're not allowed to leave their homes or come back to their homes. So we do have to mitigate that traffic on a continuous basis. You know, progress is one of those things that a lot of people always think is wonderful. And I always think back to, what is that final scene at the Carousel of Progress at Disneyland? There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. A great big beautiful tomorrow just a dream away. And what was it? It was that nuclear power plant. Oops. I don't think the people of Chernobyl were real thrilled when that progressive thing happened. As a matter of fact, many of the oil wells that gushed and actually exploded in this city many moons ago were tapped, because people said there is a price to be paid for progress, and you need to carefully consider if that price is worth a quality of life or life in itself. And I think sometimes many are only chasing dollar bills, kind of like, what was it? Midas, and he lost everything because everything was about getting some gold. Sometimes those Aesop fables really matter. I can think of a few people who died recently with everything most people would want, and it wasn't enough to make them happy.
Closed public comment. I think we're ready to vote, but we're not going to open any nuclear power plants or drill any oil wells.
Move item 2. Item 2, second.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmembers Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Okay. Consent calendar items 3 through
20 or something.
Second.
I just want to note that we are setting aside funds to insulate 107 homes in item 20. Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. DR1?
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution approving an updated drug and alcohol policy to be in compliance with the federal drug and alcohol testing program administered by the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority.
Move adoption. Second. Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. DR2?
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution establishing the City of Inglewood user fee policy.
Move 1 and 2. Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. I want to make the note that there are no increases. This is just a compilation of all the fees in one schedule. A1?
Thank you, Mayor. Can I have two items on there? A1 is no oral reports, but as for the closed session items?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Mayor. As to closed session number 1, we had 3 items on the agenda for existing litigation. The first one was Maria Espejos versus City of Inglewood. And as to that matter, the discussion was held and direction given to staff. As to item B, which is a workers' compensation of David Burnett, there's a request for a motion for approved settlement.
I so move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. As to the last item, which is Oscar Mejia versus City of Inglewood, there was a discussion held and direction given to staff. And as I stated, there's no oral reports from the city attorney's office.
Thank you, sir. CM1?
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. This Friday, Food Truck Fridays are back by popular demand, so I wanted to encourage all the residents to come out. This Friday downtown, we'll have food trucks lining Market Street from 4 to 9. This is the first one. We kind of let the summer get by us before we had our first one this summer, but we will be having one on the fourth Friday of October and the fourth Friday of September. So please come out and enjoy yourself and bring your family.
Thank you. CC1?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank the mayor and the council, along with Jerome Horton, Board of Equalization, for the small business seminar, which was a great success. A lot of people came out and learned how to make their business thrive or to start a business. And it was really awesome to have all of you there. It was a great breath of fresh air, another great event. I want to congratulate Alex Padilla, the council member in District 2, for an awesome community event on August the 9th. The community came out. When you talk about change in Inglewood, it's big change. And it was well attended. I mean, I don't even know if that's the right words to use. It was just really awesome. People were happy. They were talking and interacting and enjoying everything that was available to them. They had farmers market. Oh, the cars were awesome. I wish I could have one or two of them myself. It was just really nice. But what most of all, what stuck with me was that it was the community. And it was Inglewood residents, and it was huge. It was such a success, so I congratulate you on that event. It was really awesome. And then I had an opportunity to go to all the block clubs in the last 2 weeks, and I just want to thank the captains, Sam Cunningham, Henry Harris, Tyrone Clay, Monique Cathy, and W.G. Howard, and we also made it over to, again, Alex Padilla, the council members, block club. And also, I wanted to also acknowledge that Steve Bradford did participate in the business event as well. I get chills when I think about what's happening in this city as the city clerk and as a resident. And I hear a lot of things, and I just think it would be nice if we can just focus on, it's okay to have a problem or to find a problem, but it's better to find a solution. And so that would be better. And in closing, I would just like to leave you with something, Mayor and Council and the residents. Weak people go for revenge. Strong people forgive, but intelligent people just ignore. Thank you very much. That's the end of my comments.
City Treasurer, CT1.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to give just a brief report regarding the funds that are invested in bond securities, and they total $47,100,000, the current $47,130,476. And also, I'd just like to just give a brief recap of what our bond indebtedness is. For the successor agency, we have for the merge redevelopment tax allocation bond series 1998A, it's $17,200,000, series 203A, and series 203, $23,995,306. The merge redevelopment is 97, and that's the sub-lien tax allocation bond series 2007 A through 1 and A through T and A through H, $97,665,000. And there we also have a small note payable to bonds. The total for the successor agency bond indebtedness is $140,360,306. And for the general fund, the tax allocation, taxable pension obligation bonds 2005 series A, B, and C is $56,286,302. And the lease revenue bonds, Series 2012, public finance is $29,881,999. Total $86,168,301. The grand total for our general long-term debt obligations, and this by category, is $226,528,607. And just a brief comment regarding the uncertainties regarding the pending ROPS and issues and lawsuits with the DOF that relates to the RDA transfers, repayments that affect the financial position and the general fund. Now, a number of cities, of course, do have at risk, dollars due to the pending DOF litigation and disputes regarding these transfers made by the former RDA, to the city during the clawback period known as defined under AB 26 and AB 1484. Now, for the most part, for cities that's similar in our size, say 115,000, 120,000, 125,000, a number of cities have reported what they thought their potential liability would be, and it has been under $7 million for all of those cities, nowhere near $1 billion. Most of these cities, of course, their general fund is generally less than $300 million. So basically, of course, our situation there is nowhere near the $1 billion that keeps being thrown up here every single council meeting. But these are the uncertainties relating to these, to these ROPS as defined by the, to the Department of Finance. And also, I'd like to mention that with regards to total bank failures, just had one bank failure in Chicago, and that bank failure was roughly $72 million. And a lot of folks think that the largest banks in the world, we only have one that's in the United States. The rest of them are, in other parts of the world, like China has actually the largest with $2.95 trillion. And of the top 10 banks, the U.S. Bank only ranked once, and that's in 2013. That was J.P. Morgan Chase with $2.9 trillion. So the largest banks aren't no longer in the U.S. And I saw a rather interesting article also regarding a very small bank. The small bank is in Oakwood, Texas, and it was organized in the 50s. They have 600 checking accounts, and it's managed by an 89-year-old owner, have 2 employees, and both of them are 75 years and 80 years old. They have no ATM, and if you want to get a loan or do any kind of transaction, you don't fill out an application. They do it by who they know on site. And they have no customers that's under 70 years old. And they have been in business 104 years. And if you're looking for some special CD rates, you might want to give them a call, 903-2545-2163. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. CI1.
Initiative by Mayor James T. Butts, Jr., recommending adoption of a resolution appointing Mayor Butts as the primary voting delegate and Councilmember Padilla as the alternate to represent the City of Inglewood at the League of California Cities.
Move approval. Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Any person wish to address the council on any matter connected with city business, hopefully connected with city business, but not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jill Olson, and I am employed with Pavement Recycling Systems. We are a subcontractor to Sully Miller Contracting, who has the contract with LA County to improve upon all of the roadways called Lennox Improvements, which are a part of this community. I'm here today to ask for assistance from the council and from the mayor in order to find a property that I can lease and rent and pay for in order to have a construction yard in order to perform my work. We have actually been looking out in the community for either a commercial property or a LA County-owned property. We've gone to Metro as well. LA County referred me to the City of Inglewood and said that the majority of the properties that are vacant that could be used as a construction lot were actually under construction. There was a fencing contract that was let out by the City of Inglewood, and those fence contracts, to my knowledge, have been completed. And so I'm here today to ask for assistance in order to get this lot. Time is of the essence. We are getting ready to start this construction and recycling the roadways and improving upon the streets on the 2nd of September. And I have been trying to lease a property since March 5th. So I implore you to please help us in order to find this yard so that we can build these roadways for the community. There are 13 streets that are included on this Lennox Improvement Project, and we would like to be able to get in here and rehabilitate these roads for the community and be able to fulfill our contract.
Your contract is with whom?
We have a contract with Sully Miller Contracting. They're a general contractor, and they actually are working for LA County.
Doing roads for the county.
That's correct.
Okay, the best person to talk to would be Linda Tatum, and she's the acting director of economic development. So if you remember that name, and they're on the 4th floor, but I don't have her number.
I was actually told by Margarita Cruz with the city manager's office that I needed to plead my case to you, Mayor, and to the city council.
Way to go, Artie. That's
And she also asked me to prepare 2 letters, one for Mr. Artie Fields and one for you, sir, Mayor, in order to either hear my case here or be added to the agenda for the next meeting.
Well, we definitely wouldn't hear your case here, and we wouldn't hear it on an agenda, but we will try to talk with you and direct you as best we can.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing, Artie? All right.
Leroy Fisher, the First District. It doesn't impact Inglewood necessarily, but it does involve education to the kids. And that is the election of Dr. McKenna. And I had occasion working with LA Unified for more than 30 years to work with Dr. McKenna in the school that, Washington High School, that he worked at and improves greatly. I truly was glad that he was elected. I hated to see all the money that was thrown into that election. Reminds me much of the things that go on here in this city. All this money that's thrown into these elections to continue the same old beat that these residents get. But hopefully, they will wake up and not be like Missouri and come out and get out and vote and make this community, all it can be. You talk about the forum. The forum is going to make money. They're going to do very well. But, I have concerns about that forum with regard to people in the city having to use alternate routes to get back and forth to their homes, And as you talk about things being, flowing so well, I know, and residents of the city know, that things are not flowing as well as they should. And, again, these people are going to make money. When the Lakers were here, they made money. They left. Madison Square Garden is not going anywhere. But I don't see that, we are getting anything out of it as yet. And, but a lot of congestion and a lot of ballyhoo about how great thou art. I don't necessarily agree to that, but, it's my concern. I watch these meetings, and it concerns me greatly that the mayor and some of you council members even always address negatively many of the people who do speak here, rather than realizing that we as members of the public simply come forward to give you our thoughts about, really what's going on. All that's necessary, in my mind, for you to do, is to direct these meetings and give your opinions and your votes, as you always do, without condemning many of the residents here the way you do. So I hope that you would consider changing your attitudes before you have the residents of the city ask you to change. Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Responding to some of the comments that council members are making after the members of the public speak. I stated that Ladera Heights School District is in Inglewood, for one of the members' information. They are part of Inglewood School District. And his response was, Ladera Heights don't have a school district. That makes no sense, because unless they've succeeded from Inglewood School District, they've been a member of Inglewood School District since I've been here. So here again, Inglewood is going to be successful. The question is mutual benefit. I'm glad Ms. Brown is discussing redevelopment agency and debt. But that's part of the situation. Now, Mr. Fields, he has all of the information. And you keep saying, the $1 billion in debt. No, we about north of 900 million. But it's there. I read what Mr. Field gives. Now, if his information is incorrect, then correct him. We have what you call low moderate income housing, 700 million. We have a trust fund, which all of the tax increment money now goes into the trust fund. That's used to pay the outstanding debt on the ROPS. And you're the chairman, Mr. Butts. It's $187 million. And you're the chairman. In what it is, that's from the next ROP 6-month period to December 31st. You should know that, but you know, I don't know if you tried to make fun of me or what it is, or I don't know what I'm saying, or, and then Mr. Franklin, you're saying about facts, you know, I appreciate your comments, but my road in front of my house is half paved for the last 8 months. Now, you think I should not be concerned that I live in a third world city with a half-paved road? That's unacceptable to me, and I have a problem with that. And if you don't think we have a financial reason for that, then let me know. Or is it retaliation? I would never say that.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
But it's not paved, it's half paved.
Mr. Matthew, thank you.
Aldine Sly, First District. I noticed that meeting before the last meeting that we had, I was watching the videotape, and my comments about the CCA was deleted for a time, and then it was put back in. And it made me curious as to why that happened. Anyway, I know there are times when certain things you don't want the public to be privy to, and you will cut it out of the video. The other thing is, there's also a TPP. I don't know if you're familiar with that either. But they're in conjunction with the CCA, and then there's another CCA. And they're all meant to do the same thing. And I described it in my explanation meeting before last. So I wonder also what kind of a person is an inquiring mind, those who ask questions. What kind of person is that? I think it's a person who wants to be made knowledgeable about what's going on with them in their city. That's all my comments for today.
Thank you, Ms.
Have a wonderful week.
Yeah, Inglewood family, I got a little family business I'd like to bring up here. School's just starting again, and the Greater Los Angeles Area of Narcotics Anonymous has put together a program to go into public schools and do presentations, and I'm not talking about a bunch of old fogies like me and you, a bunch of youngsters that's in the program doing, defeating their drug problems. And they also, and that's free, so you don't get someone comes in here and tells you something's free very often, but they also have the books from Narcotics Anonymous that they'll put in the libraries for free. And so nobody in Narcotics Anonymous seems to know who to go to do that, so I come to these meetings all the time, and I'm going to just put that out there, and maybe someone can catch me sometime or another, or call Los Angeles, Greater Los Angeles Area of Narcotics Anonymous and ask for the information. Okay?
Council, Mayor, my name is Willie A.G. If somebody had told me 5 years ago that Sunday, I believe the 24th, I believe, the greatest movie star in the world would be walking on the red carpet here in the beautiful city of Inglewood, I would never have believed it. I want to tell you guys something. Beyonce will be walking down the red carpet at the forum in the beautiful city of Inglewood on August the 24th.
You're right about that.
And you know what?
You're right about that.
And she's going to be seen all over the world. Is this council up here responsible for that? Yes. You are responsible. Is that progress? Yes, that's progress. I tell you, I love Inglewood. I love the people that's running it. Just keep up the good work. Thank you very much. You too, my Councilman Franklin.
Welcome, Mr. Davis.
Good evening again, Mayor and council and staff. I'll try to get all this in. I may have to ask you for 30 seconds. It's up to you. I want to touch first. New building that's being in the final stages of completion over in District 2, right there where Centinela and Hyde Park intersect, a little three-way there. Please keep me abreast of when the grand opening is going to be. I would love to meet the architect. I probably had a chance before, but life happens. I'm impressed with that building. Are you aware that when you rise up the crest on Centinela to La Tierra, you can see that building all the way down? Can I toss an idea? I hope that crown at the top, they painted something really bright, or even make it out of stainless steel so that it reflects, so that you can see it. Because it's basically an instant landmark. And if you don't do any of that, I'd recommend one other thing. It's up to the developer and, of course, the city council and the code board. Put a flagpole in it, up at the top, right in the middle. Let Old Glory whip in the wind. They'll see it for miles. We are an all-American city, right? Okay. That's a dream I have. Second one, on a more sensitive note, I believe it was Mr. Fisher who mentioned Missouri. Okay, Inglewood residents, those of you who've been here a long time, and most of you folks have been on this dais and know about it, live here in the city, we all know what we've been through. We've been down that road. And I would have yelled out a call of warning when it went down there. Seek justice, but watch out who you get to represent you while you seek that justice. Inglewood paid a heavy price. But it's up to them. Same thing happened down in Florida. Same suspects come in, yelling no justice, no peace. And then there's no justice for the people who deserve it, and the people who should have been delivered justice get rewarded because you violate their civil rights. But I'm confident because we have been down that road. That sort of thing. There's gonna be police shootings until Jesus comes back, folks, and we have a world of peace. There's gonna be violence. But I'm confident now that our city will not fall into foolishness. Quickly, one last thing, just 30 more seconds. I just had this epiphany. With the line coming through, we went round and around about how we can't go underground with the trestle. How about at Florence and Centinela, as you go down that steep little hill? What if you put a pedestrian tunnel under the train, going over to the other side of Florence? I don't know if that's doable, just an idea. I don't have time for anything else. Thank you so much for letting me go over, everyone.
Great epiphany. Is there any further public comment?
Good evening once more, and this is my last comments for the evening, I have a feeling. But I'm going to piggyback on the comments that I heard earlier about Beach Street, from Centinela all the way to La Brea. Beach Avenue is a very, how do you say it? I want to say it's a racetrack. It is. Because I've walked from that Beach Avenue all the way to Centinela. Many a nights at 3 in the morning, sometimes I'll leave right here and I'll just walk down there. And several of those street signs, people just don't pay attention to them. They blow right past the stop sign, they go all the way down Beach Avenue. If there's any kind of traffic, people just don't care. The residents over there is just too populated over there. And the residents over there, they don't care if there's a stop sign. They're just going to do what they want to do because it's not very well traffic policed. And I've seen it. I've stood on many of corners and watched people just blow. Not just one person, the next person right behind them will do the same thing. Won't even pay attention to any street signs over there. All like I said, all the way up and down Beach Avenue. They just don't care. Now they care when they get to the city yard because there's just a lot of police right there. But as far as the rest of that avenue stretch, forget it. It's the wild, wild west. And so I'm just wondering, is there some kind of future if we say going back down this baby steps in the city? Can we get cameras, especially since the schools are getting ready to go back to school, the kids are getting ready to go back to school, and this will be, thank goodness, the last year that this Inglewood School District will be going back to school after Labor Day. As of next year, they will be going as of the second week of August to catch up with the rest of the world because our kids need more education. Those are my comments, basically, about that. But can we get cameras in the future to monitor, especially right there where the elementary school is, on Beach Avenue? Because right there where all that residence is, they just don't care about that stop sign there. I know that there's going to be legal ramifications because the people don't want to have to get tickets or they don't want to even pay their tickets. Who does? But if you break the law, you have to pay. I know I'm not going to be very popular with people around the world, but if I have to pay attention to the law, you have to as well. Thank you, and these are my comments. Everybody have a great week.
Mr. Mayor and the councilman again, hope you're patient with me. I wanted to ask you if you would be kind enough and could afford to restore the transportation on Saturdays and Sundays of the I-line for the seniors especially and the community. It used to be 7 days a week, but now you only have 5 days a week. And on Saturdays and Sundays, the seniors are kind of at a disadvantage. They can't go over to the shop or to the plaza or other places that would help them on the weekends. They're kind of locked in their facilities. So if you could restore the I-line on Saturdays and Sundays, I think it's what, 8 to 5 they had it years ago, it would be advantageous for the seniors and the community if you could do that under your budget. And also maybe if there was a dash that would be over in the shopping area that would take the shoppers from the right side of the shopping mall over to the other side instead of having to cross that traffic. If they want to go from one side to the other, maybe the business people there could have profit sharing and afford a dash that could run through there for the community. Just a gesture. Thank you.
Ma'am, it's my understanding that the issue with the I-line is less about funding than it is about having qualified drivers that are available to be hired. And so that's the problem, is that we don't have enough drivers. And it's my understanding we're continually trying to recruit drivers. So we're working on that.
Well, could you rotate the staff that you have?
Well, we have to staff based upon greatest need. The greatest need is during the week. So
Correct.
we are where we are right this moment. So I'm just, trying to explain to you where we are.
Well, could you ask maybe the merchants over, since they would take them over to the shopping area, the merchants on the profit sharing program, to share some of that traffic, some of that money for that particular transportation, if they would think about it. I don't understand.
Okay, this is why we really don't go back and forth, but we're working on it, and you wanted the weekends, we're going to try and get the weekends for you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll close public comment. Ms. Sobrano.
Council members, I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity, since you did bring up the concept of the people of this community elected in 1994 to allow a casino, a 24-hour casino, to come to this community. That came with, what was it? Promises. Promises that were unfulfilled, promises that were never met, promises that were pie in the sky. And once again, proved me right. That's just the way it is. We never got the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. That's what we were supposed to have way back then. Never happened. We never got the brand new police station, and we haven't heard much about it. What we heard and what we saw was the sign moving around the city saying Hollywood Park Casino would give us a brand new police station. That never became a reality. So you wonder why we don't have a lot of confidence in these pie-in-the-sky pipe dreams? We have a history in this community of being sold a bill of goods that never becomes a reality. With regard to all the joys that are going to be happening at the forum, I think that that's incredible that we have finally gotten to the point where, even though we had to pay $18 million, we're actually going to get someone coming to the forum. And unfortunately, we seem to think that it's only this generation that thought the forum had significance. I actually remember when Barbara Streisand and Barry Goldwater were there. They were pretty important people then, too. A lot of people who were significant have come to the forum in years gone by. And I don't think that we should discredit their presence just because they are not people that we remember. It is important to make sure that the promises that we are given become reality, and maybe you wouldn't have this resistance. But you know what? The golf course shut down in a matter of minutes. We were never going to get that police station. We always knew it. And whoever has sat in these chairs since then has never encouraged the purchase of property to come back to us with that police station that was promised to us years ago. And yet, we gave up a lot for that. Our community gave up a great deal for that. And unfortunately, didn't get it. How about that? Am I surprised? No, I wasn't then. I'm not today. But let's be truthful about what the promise was and how it was unfulfilled.
After us in District 2, I have a few things that I would like to mention. First, I want to mention about the incident in Missouri. I know we don't want to look at it and we don't want to talk about it, but before something like that comes here, I suggest that a lot of times I've seen on the agenda our Inglewood police force was supposed to be purchasing cameras. Today I saw on the news, Channel 4, that Hawthorne is considering cameras. This is something that I think the council and the mayor should stress on, as that toward the people, the taxpayers would like to see. Cameras placed on our officers. This is a must. Also, we purchased videos for cop cars several times. There's no videos on those cop cars. If it is, they're not being used. We have incidents that should be, that I'm bringing forward to this council as a taxpayer and a resident of this city, that we deserve more. Our police officers need to be protected not only by each other, but by the people in the city. Now, if something like that was to break out, we'd be in deep trouble. We need to equip our police officers with modern equipment. I want to mention that because of this going on now. As I say, sometimes I have things that should be recognized. Also, I want to mention another thing that happened this weekend, Councilman Padilla. one of the residents bought a new car. One of the girls, I don't know who it was, came and they ticketed that person and told him that, so that he said, well, I just bought my car. You need to talk to the parking enforcers. Give the people and the taxpayers enough time so their license plates could come in. Why they got ticketed, I can't say. I don't know if they were using the paper plates over the 30 days, 45 days as the DMV. I think you should check into that, Councilman Padilla, please, in the district. Because the parking meters, they not only don't know the people here, they are giving excessive tickets that's uncalled for. And I want to apologize for the outburst to you, Mayor. When I came out and said Alex to take care of it, I want to apologize because it is rude in the audience, even for myself. As a grown-up, I shouldn't have done that. And we need to stop all of that, I'm going to stop that because it's rude. And Alex, as a council member, as my councilman, could you please do something about Beach Avenue and Marvin Engineer? Ask them to tear that building down, make it look pretty for when we do improve our city. Thank you.
We'll close public comment. I'll start. Anybody want to comment before we go? Because long council meeting, I don't want you guys to impeach me.
I'll say a couple things.
All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out, and you know, we continue to value everybody's opinion and comments, and of course, we have our own, so that's why sometimes it seems like we're on different ends, but the truth is that I think we're all aiming for the exact same place. You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse in terms of what we did today, but the steps we took with regard to Hollywood Park and some of the other items are huge steps for the city. So, you know, with that, continue to come out. You know, we're listening, and hopefully everybody has a good time. Great block clubs this weekend. Congratulations to Councilman Padilla, and looking forward to the rest of them this year. So thank you very much.
Councilman Dotson.
First of all, I hope that you all mark your calendars for our shredding day, September 27th, from 9 to 12 at the B3 Center at 7th Avenue in Manchester. I also would like to put on your calendar Town Hall meeting for September the 20th from 10 to 12 at First Church of God. I have a prepared statement. I attended the 4th Avenue Homeowners Association block party together with Senator Rod Wright, Mayor James Butts, Councilman Ralph Franklin, City Treasurer Warner Brown, City Clerk Yvonne Horton, Chairman Horton, and several commissioners. I hope I didn't miss anyone name on Saturday, August the 9th. It was very exciting for me because this is the block club that I worked so hard to begin over 30 years ago. We as a block club began a scholarship fund in 1988 in honor of Mr. Roy Harvey, who was a very active member of our association. The scholarship fund was to be given to the children of our members when entering college. Our goal was to give the gift of a scholarship to as many persons that entered college, and on August 9th, 4 scholarships were given. I want to thank all who participated in keeping our block club together and continuing the giving of the scholarship all these years. We've helped many students get a start with their college education, and I pray that some of those students will come back and pay it forward. And I wanted to tell the Fourth Avenue Block Club. Please continue the hard work and keep moving forward. Thank you very much, and I hope that you all will come back at the next council meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quickly, just want to thank the residents for coming out to speak and share with us their concerns. We gravitate the same concerns you have. There's been many years of information we received, and by compiling that information, we was able to make quality decisions, which we have continued to do as we did today. I also want to acknowledge and reach out to the chairman, Jerome Horton, of the Board of Equalization, for an outstanding outreach of small businesses so that they can have a better footprint on the city and be more competitive, and also with the future developments that they can also engage and know all of the nuances that it takes to be successful, and also be in compliance with the taxes, the regulations that is required. And then I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all of the block clubs that engaged in block parties throughout the last several weeks. There's been so many, don't want to miss any of them, so I'll just say thank you, block club captains and your team, for a very successful community outreach event. It was also a pleasure, as I'm going from one block club to another, that I had my little grandchild, 4 years old, traveling with me. We interfaced with the mayor on many of them. I was very surprised and appreciative to recognize that our Congresswoman, Maxine Waters, also came to one of the block clubs and recognized that particular block. They also had 4 students that received scholarships from that particular block as well. It's great to know that our federal legislators also are engaging and reaching out to the city of Inglewood as well. Again, a great experience. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things I want to touch on before I talk about our District 2 event. You know, a gentleman came up here and talked about thoughts on what's happening in Inglewood, and that we need to change our attitude. I think sometimes we have to do some self-reflection when we talk about attitudes, when you come up to the podium, and the accusatory nature and demand, you know, of folks when they come up here and speak. One gentleman came up here and again reiterated Ladera Heights School District, that there is no such school district. It doesn't exist, so therefore it cannot be a part of the Inglewood Unified School District. So wherever that person's getting their information, they need to go out there and recheck it and do their homework before you come back to our next meeting and talk about the same concern. You know, one person got up here and talked about a traffic ticket or a parking ticket that somebody got. I wasn't clear. But, you know, if a person doesn't agree with it, they can always, there's an appeal process so that they can appeal whether it's a parking ticket or a traffic ticket. Not being there, I don't know why they got it. I have the farthest idea. But all I can tell you to do is exercise the options, or tell that person to exercise the options that they have. As far as our District 2 event, I just want to say I want to thank the community. I'm talking about the residents, the business owners, for coming out and helping make that event such a huge success. Like the city clerk said, there was a lot of folks there, a lot of mingling, a lot of talking amongst each other, excitement in there about the good things happening, not just in District 2, but in the city of Inglewood. And I want to thank the council and the mayor for their kind donation to help make that event a success. They donated money to go towards the Inglewood JROTC. So I want to thank the mayor and the council members. Each council member made a donation. I want to thank staff for being there to support the event, taking time out of your day to let the community know that we're all in this together. There's a great article in the Inglewood Today that recaps the Discover District 2 event. I want to thank Willie Brown out here for putting it together, doing a great job of advertising the event, and then recapturing everything that occurred and putting it in the newspaper. We also had some great shirts that a lot of folks purchased, and I'll get up and show it to you. This is our Discover District 2 event, and on the back has a list of folks that came out to support the event and supported it in so many different ways to help make it a success. But it couldn't be a success without having a committee that put in a lot of time and effort to help make this thing happen. And I want to just let you know who that is. That's my assistant Ramon Quinones, Commissioners Juanita and Jim Withrow, Commissioner Patricia Sanchez, Diane Amori, Mary McBride, and of course my beautiful wife Stella Padilla for putting in the time and effort to make this event a success. We're going to be able to present a check to the Inglewood High School GROTC in excess of $3,000 to go towards. Thank you. That goes to the community, the folks that stepped up to help make a difference. So I want to thank them for doing that. That being said, I know on the 27th you're going to be shredding stuff over at District 1's event, but come the following day, after you've worked up an appetite, we're having a District 2 picnic on September the 28th at North Park from noon to 3, and it's actually going to be a picnic. So bring your basket, bring some food, bring a little something to share with the neighbor, come out, enjoy each other's company. We're going to be having demonstrations done on the use of the equipment. We have gym equipment that's at North Park. We're going to have folks teach us how to use it, talk about nutrition, talk about the healthy aspects, of life. And so please come out, save the date, Sunday, September the 28th, from noon to 3 at North Park. With that, Mayor, I'd like to ask you to also close in the memory of a good friend of ours, mother who's passed away, Richard Carranza's mother, Delia Carranza. We worked with her with him at the Santa Monica Police Department, and his mother recently passed away. Thank you.
All right. Real quick, Ms. Austin, on the parking ticket, you got your information secondhand. You don't know what the condition of their car was. You don't know if they had the proper registration displayed. And so I just think it's a little unfair to make a blanket condemnation of the behavior of our parking control people when you have secondhand information. And so, as the councilman said, we do have an appeal process, and they should avail themselves of it. And if they had proper evidence of registration, then everything will be fine. I also wanted to address your comment about cameras. I feel very badly for what's going on in Ferguson on a number of levels. First, a young man lost his life, but also there's not enough information out so people can make an intelligent decision on exactly what happened. And while that process lingers, there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of pain. But as far as your comment about cameras, we're not going to grandstand here, as some people are grandstanding now about cameras on officers. We are conducting our business in a deliberative, thoughtful manner. Now, we've already discussed, myself and the chief, about cameras for our officers. But you know what? You just can't go out and put a video camera on somebody's lapel. You have to have an infrastructure, one, to transmit the signal somewhere. Two, you have to have a storage medium that allows you to store terabytes of information, huge amounts of information. And three, you have to have a way of cataloging it so that you can go find the information when you want to go look for it. So what we've done first, we are now putting aside, in this next budget, over $3 million to buy a state-of-the-art computer dispatch system that's going to form the foundation from which this camera system can flow. And so we don't run around and talk about it, because what we do things in a deliberative process. And so we are going to purchase a new CAD system, and from there we'll be able to do cameras. But I think it is just unconscionable what I see going on now with some elected officials talking about putting an ordinance that says they're going to have cameras on their officers, when you don't have to have an ordinance. You budget for the equipment and you deploy it. It's the chief's decision, and he's made a wise one. And so we're way ahead of the curve in that area, and so you don't have to demand it. It's already in progress. But we do things in a deliberative fashion like you'd expect. responsible leaders to do. I finally want to say that we are not trying to insult or disparage anyone that has, an opinion. But what we are doing is we're exercising our obligation to help people understand the context in which decisions are made. And in the context of our decisions, I heard it said that someone promised a police station back in '94. Well, anyone with common sense would say, well, where are you going to get, I guess back then it would have been about $60, $70 million to build a police station. You'd have said, where are we going to get $60, $70 million to build a police station? And you would have said, well, I guess that's not going to happen. Well, no one here has promised you we're going to put a police station or fire station or anything, because there's no money for that. So it's unfortunate that if someone feels disappointed, I can't do anything about what somebody said in 1994. I just left here for 3 years, and no one here was on this dais. So we're dealing with what we got. I think we're doing very well with what we have, and we're going to continue. And so we appreciate your comments, but when you talk about things that are now 20 years in the past, you're going to have to expect people aren't going to really take you that serious. There's nothing we can do about 20 years ago. I want to close the meeting in the name of Delia Carranza, the mother of Richard Carranza, in the name of Keith Urbay, the husband, I believe I'm pronouncing last name properly, Olga Urbay, a City of Inglewood employee, and the uncle of Melissa Urbay. I also want to close the meeting in the name of Shirley Mae Johnson, the sister of Melvin McDade, and the aunt of Melanie McDade, my assistant. She was born April 7th, 1952, was the 11th of 12 children, and she was a 20-year employee of the Inglewood Unified School District. She raised 6 children. We're adjourned.